Is Age of Sigmar really fantasy? What is up, YouTubers, gamers and fellow hobbyists out there? Welcome to this Topical Tuesday, the series where we just take a topic and delve into it a little bit. Sometimes it can be a question, sometimes it can just be a statement. I'm kind of asking a question today. I mean, really the question is, what is it about Age of Sigmar? Now, what do I mean by that? I've always found it difficult to get into Age of Sigmar. I wanted to get into fantasy way back when, a little bit more than I did. I was too caught up in the whole 40k thing, and then they kind of got rid of fantasy. I was like, oh, that's a shame. Okay, so... Right, where do I begin with this one? Fantasy has more of an appeal to me, old school fantasy, than Age of Sigmar does. Now, what is it about Age of Sigmar that just doesn't sit quite right with me? Now, those of you who've been with me any time at all, you know I'm doing a series on getting into Age of Sigmar, and that's good. I'm applying myself with that. I don't think I'll ever be as enthused about it as much as I am 40k. And certainly not as much as old school fantasy, but we're going to come on to why. I mean, I've pinpointed why. What is it about Age of Sigmar that isn't quite right for my fit? I mean, the models are fantastic, and they've obviously got a whole plethora of lore and backstory behind it all, like the usual Games Workshop tradition has. And I've been reading through some of it, and it's good. It's good, but there's something about it which just isn't quite right for me. So something in my gut says it's not really fantasy, is it? It's not. I mean, I've got more of an appreciation for it now because I've changed the way I look at Age of Sigmar, and how I did it was this. Age of Sigmar is steampunk. It's more steampunk than it is fantasy. I say it is. You can't argue. There's guns, muskets, there's airships, for goodness sake, and those dwarves look very steampunky to me. Now, old school fantasy did have the old gun, the Bretonian thing. I mean, he's clearly got a gun. It's a gun. It's a musket of some sort. But I could forgive that. I mean, because it had orcs and dwarves and, bows and arrows, swords, spears, all that kind of stuff, shields, that, and magic. That was your missile attacks. But Age of Sigmar has guns. It does have guns. I mean, it's one of those dwarves, they got guns on everything. I mean, that's it. That's steampunk to me. What I want is more fantasy, traditional fantasy. But that said, now I'm viewing it as a steampunk game. It has more of an appeal to me. Okay, it's a steampunk game. More akin to War Machine than... It's more like War Machine. Age of Sigmar is more like War Machine to me now than it is Hordes, I would say. It's more like War Machine than it is like a sci-fi game, like 40k. That's for sure. It has fantastical elements to it, but at its core, to me, it's a steampunk game, and that's fine. My next question, of course, would be, can anybody name me a good traditional fantasy game? I've heard Kings of War is okay, but is it that good? Yes, I am actually on the lookout for a fantasy game in its classical sense, a fantasy tabletop war game. So this is kind of a two-part Topical Tuesday, really. I'm asking you guys a question. Does anybody know, is there one I can look at or look into? That would be cool, because Age of Sigmar, whilst it's a cool game, it isn't scratching my fantasy itch at all. I may have to go back to Hordes. I may do. That's more of a skirmish type game. I'm looking for rank and file, you know, move the guys forward and like loads of them, that kind of thing. But yeah, it is. So what is it about Age of Sigmar that doesn't sit quite right with me? It's that it's not a fantasy game, it's a steampunk game. And whilst that's good, and I like steampunk games, and I was always intending to get into a steampunk game at some point, it was not a priority on my list. Pretty much the same as a steampunk role-playing game is not high on my priority. I've got some tools to use for soloing a steampunk game. I have a dedicated deck for that. But yeah, anyway, that's another topic, another series. But yeah, so what is it about Age of Sigmar? I think it's a steampunk game. What do you guys think? I think it's more steampunk than it is fantasy. It's got great fantasy elements, but at its heart, I mean, to me, it is steampunk. That's it. So, Games Workshop, are you going to do an actual fantasy game? I know there's going to be the old world Warhammer, you know, and I'm going to be getting into that when it comes out. That's not for a while yet, though, is it? And that's more. I heard it was more. It's more along the lines of the fantasy version of the Horus Heresy, as opposed to like a Mordheim type thing. I hope it is, because I also heard you could use your old figures. It's going to be square bases, all that good stuff. I like square bases. I like round bases too, but I like square bases. They just sit together nicer. I know you can get those trays where you put the round ones in. That's naff. You might as well just have square bases. Yeah, round ones are good for. They're very good for like the likes of 40k, the way that mechanic works, and the likes of skirmish games, your bolt actiony type games as well, because they can't have formations like you can lined up like that. Not like the real old school stuff does. But anyway, yeah. So. Yeah, I say it's a steampunk game. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys on another video, another topic. If there's any topics you'd like me to bring up, just let me know. Either let me know down below or email me at miniwarzone@gmail.com. And I'll see you guys on another video. Remember, all brushes lead to war. And bye for now. Bye-bye.